Hey guys, I'm Tim.
I'm Bob.
I'm Dan.
I'm Spencer.
And this is the Board Game Rundown. Today, we're going to talk about games we played, news, crowdfunding, and a very special topic that is near and dear to our hearts.
Yeah.
No.
But first,
Never heard of it.
people should make sure that they're liking, subscribing to follow all of our videos and
Ring
to get
in that
notifications.
bell.
Ring that bell.
We've got a ton of unboxings,
Yeah.
previews, reviews, all kinds of good stuff.
Yeah.
We've even got some playthroughs if you're interested in what GKR Heavy Hitters looks like.
Yeah.
We just, Spencer and I just trounced the Miniatures Rundown crew. And by trounced, we mean barely won. But
that's how we shall tell the story in history.
It's a win. The winners
Oh,
write
wait,
the history
But
book.
don't tell them who won. They have to watch the video.
yeah.
So you should watch the video.
Redacted.
So
But yes, Bob is right. We are doing a giveaway if we can get to 500. Not if. When we get to 500 subscribers, we are going to give away. We will mail you free gratis a copy of Edge of Darkness.
Yeah, free
AEG.
gratis.
Yeah, it's a
can't wait.
giant game. It's
It's
ridiculous.
huge.
Here's a link to the giveaway for more information. If
Card
you want to
crafting.
enter, leave a comment of your favorite AEG game.
Yeah.
On
that video.
On
Yeah,
that,
on that
specific,
video, yes.
specific video.
Good point.
Yep.
That's what I meant.
It's important.
And then once we hit that 500 mark, we will pick a different game to give away at 600.
Yeah.
So we're just going to keep bribing
going.
you to be our friends.
That's right.
That's how I got these guys here.
Yeah.
That's bad wording. We are not bribing you.
That's not a bribe.
Anyway, let's
Yeah.
move on.
All right. So games we played.
Ooh.
Right.
yeah.
So I played a little game
Okay.
called Crypt of Chaos that Tim gave me to play.
Yes, I have played this as well, but not as recent.
I actually, did you do solo or two?
Solo.
So I played two with
Yeah. Okay.
Catherine, and I gotta say, I wasn't expecting too much. I didn't know anything about this game. It was handed to me. It's in a little box. Its art style is very
Unique.
sure and stuff. And I didn't know what I was getting into. I gotta say, I had a really good time.
Yeah.
We were, especially in the 2-player game, you're just kind of taking turns back and forth and back and forth, and. Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, she did almost all the work. I became useless because she kept getting really good items from chests, and mine were just like little potions and stuff. But like at the end of the game, she became like a beast. She had weapons and armor, and she was like going around it got to the point where the fighting was like incredible because it was just like, okay, he has to pull the 3 to even hit you. So like, okay, you don't hit it, it hits you, but it's not enough damage to do. Okay, you killed it, it strikes back,
Yeah, so
it
you
did 1
flip
damage.
the cards.
It
to-
does Gloomhaven style.
Right, as
Okay.
far as
Where you
damage
have
goes.
like
Modify
deck,
mods to
yeah,
hit. Yeah,
it's a much tinier deck. It's like 6 cards each or
Sure.
something. But yeah, it does
Yep.
that Gloomhaven modifier.
And there's a miss in there, you know.
Yeah,
and-
But yeah, I mean, I don't know what else
I
to
was
say, really.
I was really curious because I played it just solo and I happened to grab the character. I just was like, this character.
Uh-huh.
Didn't even
Look.
read them. Just grabbed one and started playing. And it was the barbarian who
Okay.
doesn't want any weapons or armor.
Yeah.
And I
But
got
he
my
has, like-
butt kicked.
Right, but he starts with like plus 3 or 4 damage.
Oh
or
yeah,
something.
yeah. He does a lot of damage, but like I was not finding weapons or
Right.
armor, where other characters clearly like some of them like auto defeat things, and I had none of that, and I was like,
You're squishy.
yeah, I was a little squishy. I still had fun though. I want to play it again as other characters. I'm really interested to see how the 2-player version goes.
Yeah, I thought it played really well. I was the wizard, or whatever it's called.
Sure.
And I don't know, she was one of the elves or something, and so we both countered a specific enemy.
Yeah.
Right, which came in handy a lot. Hers way more than mine. But yeah, it was, again, I was really surprised. You're just building up the tile maps, connecting with the arrows, right? We've seen that system before.
Yep.
And then you're just exploring, and certain traps, you have to have a certain item, like a certain boots to jump over a certain trap and stuff like that,
Yep.
which actually is the one weird thing with the 2-player I just remembered. We literally couldn't win because of a certain thing that happened, which is
Okay.
just pure luck, right? And
Sure.
again, it's realistic bad luck, right? But you're exploring this temple. We found the end of the temple, or whatever it is, the end of the
crypt.
cave, the crypt. Good
Yeah.
point. It's almost in the name. We found the end of the crypt, and we had to fight the dragon or whatever. But it was at the end of a long hallway that had 2 traps, and I had both items for passing traps.
Can you not pass items to your?
Well, here's the thing. I don't know if you could, but even if you could, the issue then is that's what we did do. I was like, I don't see anything in here that you can trade items, but maybe you can. So I jumped back over the trap. Because Catherine has all the weapon and armor. I gave her the boots, and I basically said, go fight the dragon.
Yeah.
I'm going to die in the crypt. Right?
Sure.
And if either player dies, or can't get out, you lose. So it was impossible for us to win because there's only one pair of boots in the game.
Right.
So only the person with a pair of boots can jump over to the end of the thing. So it was just this really bad luck where the crypt just so happened to close in and create a 3-tile line to the last tile.
If you got a pit that you can't cross, if you toss them the idol, they'll toss you the whip.
I see. I've tried that before. And he laughed and ran away.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I then immediately found him impaled.
He died horribly.
So it did work out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we will do. I want to give all the guys a chance to kind of play and get an experience. But we are going to do a review of this.
Right.
But I wanted to get talking about it.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say I was very pleasantly surprised with how simple it is and everything.
I was really curious. I was waiting for you to skewer it.
Yeah.
But no, I'm glad you had a good time with it.
No, yeah. Again, it really came down to just how incredible Catherine's fights were. Like, it got to the point where I was flipping over these cards and talking about everything that was happening. Like, okay, well, I was like, okay, well, you're gonna miss this first attack because that's the only card left in the thing. But he has to do a +3 to even damage you. So even if he damages you, he'll do a 1 to you, and then you'll attack again. You have so many weapons, you'll kill him instantly. But then he'll attack again, and then what if he could damage you that time? And then we were just flipping over these cards and seeing these fights happen. We made it way more, I guess, than it might be to some people, but we had a really good time.
That's really all that matters is the experience you have and you create.
We were also rushing through it, so that was part of the whole oh man, this is happening, because we had an hour to play it before having to come here.
Sure.
So,
I'm really glad that you guys had a positive experience.
Right,
with
that was Crypt of Chaos. You remember who it's by?
Chaos.
I don't remember the name, so it'll be at the bottom of the screen here.
A picture of it.
Yeah. So, anyways, Spencer, did you get anything played?
Yes. So
that you didn't play with everyone else?
Yes.
Oh. What? Crystal Dagger Games.
There you go. Okay. So I got to play Steamforged Rally.
Oh, you did get to play
Steampunk
Rally.
Fusion.
Fusion.
Steampunk Rally Fusion.
All right.
With Caleb. And I wasn't expecting it to be quite like your machine falling apart on you all the time and having to fix it up.
That's what I love about it. I love it.
Galaxy Truck.
Yeah, only because you're going down this hill and you're hitting bumps and as you take damage, bits are flying off your machine.
So now they have these 2 new maps. You have Machu Picchu and Mars, and they have special places where different things happen.
Okay.
Cards, a deck for each one.
Ooh, nice.
So every time you pass over one of the Machu Picchu things, that spot has a card associated with it, which could be like a pressure plate, which damages people in front of you, stuff like that. And the Mars one, if you roll over a Mars spot, everyone on a Mars spot has whatever happens go off. You flip it over, and it goes off.
Okay.
Yeah, I really liked it. It was fascinating because at some point I was like, okay, I'm going to do everything in my power to go as fast as possible, even though I know at the end of this I'm going to explode. But
as long as the carriage stays together and you cross that finish line,
that's all that matters.
and it came down to the fact that Caleb was able to get a +3 to his health, which doesn't go away between rounds. Damage goes away when you lose parts, but the shields stay. So he had enough
reinforced
shields. Yeah, so he had enough shields throughout the game that he'd collected that at the end he got 15 in one move. It was insane.
Wow.
And I only got 11, which I thought was crazy.
Good too, yeah.
But, of course, I had nothing left on my vehicle.
It's just the whole visual is super cool.
I can't remember what that's from. Is that Little Rascals or something, where the person just
everything's falling apart, and the wheels fall, and it's just all that's left is the housing, and it just slides across the finish line.
It was fun, and
it's great.
I look forward to trying it because I played as one of the expansion Doc Brown.
Okay, yep.
Got that DeLorean.
The promo one.
Yeah, it's a promo one, and with Doc Brown, if you can activate his little power 3 times in one go,
at 88 miles an
then
hour.
you get 88 miles an hour. You get all this other special cool stuff. And at the end, I'm like, I have a fusion die, and I had really good luck with the fusion die. I rolled a 9. I was like, all right.
I don't know the fusion die does. That's new.
So the fusion die doesn't vent. The idea of the game is you will roll dice, and you place dice on the different parts.
Yep.
The ones that you place that round only are what actually you count.
Correct.
So the ones that are currently on there in the different spots are really just taking up room, keeping you from doing what you want.
You got to vent them out.
So you use cogs to vent them. You cannot vent fusion dice, but they roll from 4 to 9.
Okay, so they're stronger die, but then they're
dice,
just stuck.
But they're stuck.
Yeah.
So at the end, I'm like, all right, I guess I'm stuck with that one in this spot.
Yeah, I see how we got to 15 though.
Yeah. It was fascinating.
Very cool.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that was good.
Yeah.
We we will play that and do a review.
Yeah, it
of
sounds
that
really
in the
interesting.
future.
I still
Yeah, I
haven't
played
played
the
Galaxy
baseball.
Trucker either. And
Yeah.
Wow,
And
that
actually,
sounds very interesting.
So I was worried about it when I opened up the box. That this was only the expansion or the second one, and it didn't
Right.
have the original.
Mm-hmm.
But because that's what it kind of looked like when I went through the rules. But as we were playing, I realized, we have all of these other map tiles,
Map tiles, and
they
inventors.
aren't Mars or
Yeah.
Machu Picchu.
Yep.
And all these little tokens. I went, this is both games.
Yeah.
I thought so because when you look at our unboxing of it,
Yeah.
you can see the box, right? And the box is like a tan on the bottom, and then the darker color up top.
Yeah.
When we went out to our FLGS over here and we looked, we saw just the fusion box, and it was just like half size box, the thickness, and it was just the dark spot. And I was like, yeah, what he got does have both because it's got the same color.
Yeah, and you said the
as-
components too were clearly one had 8 cards instead of 4 or something.
Yeah, because he said he had like 24 or something like that. I was like, yeah, so you had 12 from the base one and 12 from
Yeah,
the
that's
second
what it
one,
was.
so they were able to combine together to get them all.
Yep.
So that's cool.
Right on.
All right.
Right on.
Yeah, I played some
goes
games.
Bob.
Yep.
There you go.
It wasn't too bad. No, I played Mercado de Lisboa.
Nice.
Learned that. It says 5 minutes to learn. Reading through took us about 10 to 15 minutes to actually
That's
learn,
still
but I could
pretty
probably
good.
teach it in
That's-
5.
right.
Yes.
And you
then
said it played really fast, right?
We were done with that learning with the 15 minutes in under an hour.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
So
it
we're
was
gonna-
super cool.
We're gonna
yeah,
play
it
that
was like-
together here.
we'll get to play
We
that,
should
and we'll
do
get a
that
review
as
up
a-
soon.
As a video.
Well, we were gonna try to have it today, but
Mhm.
we had some other stuff we needed to do. So very soon,
Very soon.
Very soon.
we are
yeah.
gonna get a video up for that.
Yeah, so it was
especially
fun.
because it's
it was
and
so
you-
quick.
It seems
and-
like you liked it.
Yeah, it was.
so-
Yeah, it was enjoyable. I definitely want to get on the table again and try it.
right
I don't
on.
want to play though
Um,
now that Bob has already played it.
Yeah, now that I've already discovered
Yeah.
how to do it all and
Yeah,
broken
exactly.
it. Yeah,
Now that he's a professional.
that's right. One of the cool things I did want to mention about that that I thought was really neat when we punched it all out. On the punch boards themselves, it says place under insert. So when you pull the insert out of the box and you put those empty punch boards in the bottom, you put the insert on top, it keeps everything elevated enough so when you put the lid on, the stuff doesn't go everywhere.
Nice.
I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like recycling
That's
and it was brilliant.
interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was super cool, and I wanted to mention that little detail.
Nice,
I thought that was super neat.
nice.
So then we got done with that, and then we played a round of Dune Imperium.
That's
Yeah.
a good game.
And it was a good game.
It's a good game.
Man, and I thought I had it like locked up, right? Like there was one guy at 2, one guy at 4, and I'm at 8, and I'm like, all right, all I gotta do is win this fight, and I'm good. Thought I had
went
it. Nope.
downhill from
Intrigue
there.
cards came out. I was like, son of a gun. And then it ended up coming down where Ben ended up coming up and tying me, and I won because I had the tiebreaker card in my hand, and yeah, it was super close.
Nice.
It
Wait,
was
so you still
good.
won?
I still won.
What a boring story.
Boring conversation anyway.
yeah. Chewy.
Yeah, so those are the 2 games that
Right
I
on.
played.
Yeah, I mean, I played
You guys
some
played
Ascension
something else, too.
online. I played
Hell
some Magic the Gathering online with the new.
yeah, I
Yeah,
gotta get
I
back
played
Becoming a
I played a
digital
little
I
bit.
gamer
haven't played it
over
since the new update. I got to get in and play
I
it.
really want to buy that Concordia digital app
Oh,
and
yeah.
play that.
Mhm.
But yeah, we played a new Decktective.
Yep.
The
Deckscape.
Nightmare in the Mirror.
Decktective. Yep.
Nightmare in the Mirror was the Decktective, and then we all played a crew versus crew Deckscape, which is a new one.
Yep. Video
Wait.
soon.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
has a new mechanic, which was pretty neat. But I think overall those were recommends. I mean, that you have to watch the
If you watch
videos
reviews.
for the specifics.
Yeah.
But I will tell you
Loser.
that we've had a lot of positive experiences with
Yeah,
those.
yeah.
And that's DV Jockey. They've made like Bang and
Bang.
the
Yeah.
dice game.
Fantastic.
Yeah, fun games at great price points.
Yeah,
you know?
really like you can play with anybody.
Yeah,
too.
and what's
You don't-
cool is like you don't destroy or anything. Like a lot of like the escape type rooms, you have
Right,
to
right.
rip things up and destroy them. You just put it back together and pass it on to somebody
Yep.
else.
Put the
That's
cards
the
back
nice
in
thing
order
about it.
and
Mhm.
spread the love.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
All right. So now we're on to news.
News?
I have one piece of news I'd like to start off.
Go for it.
Okay.
The first thing I want to mention is that I was going to do this next week, but
Uh-oh.
we're not going to be filming next week. At least I won't be filming next week. And I just got my second COVID shot, so
Uh-oh.
I just thought,
What does Spencer's face look like? Nobody will know.
It's so funny.
Oh boy.
gotta take this thing off.
He's gonna have a
boy.
little bit of a
He has 2 on.
pasty.
Just
That
to
was
make
a
it more
surprise.
dramatic.
That was, it's like, why'd you
Wah, wah.
ruin it?
Oh, I could see it very obviously
Yeah,
sticking
but
out
they
the
couldn't
side.
see. Oh! Put it back!
Dude, you don't have any hair?
Put it back! Yay!
Oh, look what you did. Look what you did. So we don't have nice things.
Oh my goodness. Oh.
So while Spencer's getting redressed.
Right.
Oh, you had 2 on. I get it.
So while Spencer is struggling comically with that, I will get into some news that I thought was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
There's a new to the U.S. and England Catan expansion.
Yes.
Oh.
Treasures, Dragons, and Adventures.
Okay.
So this was originally released in 2009 in Europe, but it was only in like Dutch and Polish.
Okay.
So that it has never seen like an English edition.
My daughter is so going to want this.
I wonder what it adds to the game, though.
I can
Dragons.
tell you. And adventures
It's a joke, yeah.
Wow.
and treasures.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, but for this expansion, you will need to have seafarers and cities and knights.
Oh wow.
Oh, interesting.
Because you're
So it's
gonna
an
need
expansion that requires expansions.
yes,
Interesting.
which
Two
is
expansions.
which
expansions.
probably explains the delay
Right.
in the release,
Sure.
right? So Catan is kind of with the reprint since it's not Settlers anymore. Now it's just Catan, Settlers of Catan. Now it's just regular Catan. I think it's seen a bit of a resurgence with like Starfarers being popular. So I think that now they can kind of justify bringing it back. I've seen a lot of stuff about
Okay.
Catan online lately. But it will be $47 retail, and it'll be coming to your local stores in July.
I'm going to be very
yeah.
interested in seeing how this sells.
But it's got like canals and
Sure.
stuff. So have you played Seafarers? Seafarers
No.
is neat because you build like a string of boats out
Okay.
to mystery islands, which then when you get out to the island, you basically flip over these tiles. So it's like a fog of war.
Okay.
And then you can decide whether or not you want to build a
Settle
settlement
there,
there.
yeah.
But your boats count as roads. So as you hit that settlement, you can build roads deeper in and explore more.
Explore more.
That's
That's interesting.
I've
That's
not
almost
played.
like the Starfarers version, where you kind of like, I mean, you're not really building
Yeah.
roads per se,
Your
but you
trade
still have to go
route
out and
thing
like
or
explore
whatever.
things
Right.
and figure out if you want to build it or not.
So I mean, I haven't played Cities and Nights, so I don't know exactly what that one
Yeah,
does.
man.
But
I haven't
I
played that
thought
one yet.
Seafarers was really cool. I liked Seafarers
Okay.
because of that extra aspect.
I
of
might
it.
have to give some of the expansions a try. Like I love the Starfarer so much, I've kind of just like on all
Well,
the
yeah.
rest of them. So maybe if someone's got it, I might give it another
But
chance.
the Dragons, Treasures, and Adventures sounds really neat.
Yeah.
So lots of
Yes.
extra stuff.
And my daughter loves the game, and so I'm definitely going to have to get this because she also loves dragons.
Well,
and
right.
that's an understatement.
And if that means you get to play games with your daughter, then right, it's worth
Absolutely,
Yeah. Worth
For
it.
sure.
definitely worth it.
it. For sure. All right, guys. What else you got in news? Because my other
do have
news
some
is going to
more.
lead into Kickstarter.
Well, I don't know if
Same.
you guys talked about this already. I didn't have my book last week, so I ignored everything that you guys said.
Yeah,
sure.
But I saw
Because you don't
that-
watch the things.
I saw that CMYK
Yes, they've
is
been doing
bringing is it CMYK? I think it is.
Uh,
Are bringing Quacks of Quedlinburg
Yes.
and Taverns back to America.
Yes.
They're doing another printing.
Oh,
or
wow,
whatever.
okay.
So it's going to be easily findable again, easily accessible. I guess I should say they have announced that
They're
Quacks
gonna
is coming.
reprint
Getting
no,
another-
Quacks
Taverns.
Quacks is planned for summer.
Right. Late June, early July.
Yeah.
It's already been said. Taverns is something they are looking into.
Nice.
Sure.
Is,
well, they're
is
going to
what I
have to
read.
time it probably with the expansion.
And I'm
Yeah,
looking for
sure.
it.
Yeah.
Well, and yes, that's a good point. And they did say with Quacks, yeah, CMYK, which is CMYK, that's cyan, magenta, yellow, black.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the people that make
Color My
Color
Critters.
My Critters, right?
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
Or
Oh.
no, Simplicatus makes CMYK, which is
Okay.
Color My Critters. I was really confused for a second. I was
Sure.
like, I know CMYK. Anyway,
Ah.
so the CMYK helped with monikers, wavelength, fuzzies, some popular games in there. And
Do you know if they're going to release the that German?
Quacks expansions?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So Alchemist
Yes.
is going to be
Yes.
coming with the first expansion as well.
Nice.
They are doing all three.
So I need Alchemist. 'cause I
So
got
that's
Herb-
huge
Herb
news.
Witches.
Quacks is a beloved game,
So
and
good.
it's coming back. It is currently like impossible to find. It is coming back. Tavern's another very good game. Not as hard to find from what I've seen, but
Right.
but still another.
But Taverns
printing-
is grossly underrated.
Yes.
Like more people need to be playing
Yep.
Taverns. So pump the brakes on like overspending on Quacks because if you can just wait like a month or two, you'll be able to find it at a reasonable price.
Mhm.
So good looking out.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
good.
yeah, I saw that and I was like, that's awesome. So Catherine's been dying to get Quacks.
Yeah.
So that's gonna
Another
happen
game you
for
don't
sure.
love.
Well, you
and-
know, I don't hate it. I just
Sure.
you know, it's not.
Why does she like
smartphone.
all the games you don't like?
Trust me. I don't know. I think you've had a bad influence.
Me?
I've got a couple smaller bits of news. A little while ago, we talked about human punishment.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw
The
this as well. The
beginning.
not cyberpunk, something human punishment.
Yes. And they have announced they are going to definitely be opening up for late backers.
Okay.
And I'm like, well, it was the most popular German Kickstarter ever,
Okay.
or German game.
Yeah, it looked really cool.
It does look pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are interested and you missed it, keep your eyes open because it's coming to the late backers. And Lockdown, Nemesis Lockdown.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they are
what
going to
about
be shipping
Lockdown?
Wave 1.
Oh, sure.
They sent out the alert.
That's not lockdown,
Alert.
but yeah, sure.
Actually, you are right. You are
Lockdown
correct,
is
sir.
the old stuff.
It's all the old stuff.
Yeah.
And like the merchandise. So if you ordered a hoodie or apparently there's a plushie, all that stuff, then you're going to get
So
that.
did you do one wave
soon.
or 2 wave?
I did
shipping?
2-wave.
You did 2
Yeah,
wave.
I paid the little
And you
bit
need the
extra.
core game.
Yes.
So you're gonna get your
I'm
core game
getting
stuff soon.
everything from the original game.
Right.
in
So
a
you're
month.
so half of you right on. Yeah, your stuff's shipping.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Gonna
That's
be
very
on that
excited.
slow boat from
Surprised you
China.
didn't wait to
yeah.
take your vacation until after you got that.
Yeah, well, yeah. Good
No
point.
doubt.
Yeah.
And if you are getting the new stuff, or if you only did one wave shipping,
3 years from
September.
Allegedly.
Currently, yes,
Allegedly.
they say everything is totally
been
on
getting
track.
better.
I mean, they've even the reason we know the original, the first wave is so soon is because it's already in Florida. They
Yeah,
just
okay.
said that now they have to get the distribution companies
Yeah.
or whatever and
Yeah, it's
send it
gotta
out.
get picked up.
So they
Yeah, it
said
takes a month.
something like 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, that takes a month.
And I'm
Yeah.
curious if I don't remember if I paid for 2 wave
So he
shipping
doesn't
or
know
not.
if a surprise is gonna
because
come up.
exactly because I already have Nemesis, but I also ordered a couple of the other stuff that might come in the first wave,
Uh-huh.
and now I'm like, I probably shouldn't have paid for 2-wave shipping because that's going to be very expensive for the
Just
very
a
little
few
bit
things.
Yeah.
that I'm getting. But
It's almost like a
so
board
anyway,
game roulette. You never know what
You never know.
Never.
Whoa.
You never know. Yeah, Ankh should be shipping pretty soon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, did you back
I
Ankh?
don't think I did.
Oh man, I
Oh.
can't wait.
Somebody else got to back some games.
It's
on.
gonna,
Exactly.
it's gonna
We're just
complete
gonna
my
cycle
trilogy of
through.
Blood Rage and Rising Sun, and
Oh,
then I'll
I
have
see.
Ankh.
Okay.
So
You
I
didn't
picked
do,
Ankh over Kemet.
You didn't do lockdown.
Hmm?
You didn't do lockdown.
No.
Okay.
because he knows at least 2 people who did.
Yeah. No. Sure. He just backs everything. So
And
it's
you know-
not
Not
everything.
everything.
And he
you know,
does own Nemesis.
If you ever
so-
like just called me and was
Variable
like,
health.
I want to play Nemesis, I'll be like, I will do whatever it takes to make that happen.
I'm off work at 11 p.m.
Challenge accepted.
That's right. Yeah.
well, that's me.
Okay. All right. So I will go into my news that will lead into Kickstarters.
Okay.
So actually, probably by the time this is released, Gutterfall, that will be coming to Kickstarter May 4th.
Yep.
So we're filming
May
what,
the
May
4th be with you.
2nd?
Exactly.
Yeah, so on Star Wars Day, so Tuesday. This will probably come out on a Wednesday. So yesterday, Gutterfall, Bounties.
I'm expecting like a Boba Fett expansion then. If they're gonna
Oh,
come
boy.
out on Star Wars
Oh,
Day, it's
boy.
all about the underworld. You know. Come
Man, I did enjoy. There was a lot of
That's-
stuff I liked about this game, so I'm hoping that it
Yeah,
funds. I think
was-
I like
yeah.
the social deduction
really cool.
aspect of it, the way you move around. and-
Again, I laughed so hard when I saw that every single living thing in the city has a bounty on it. I
Yeah.
think that is such a funny universe. And
Welcome
like
to the future.
and like, do they actually? Probably not. It's probably just obviously you're going through the decks of wanted posters, so you're only
Right.
seeing the people. But still, it just seems like every
that
single.
many
well,
wanted
how
people
boring would it
wandering
be
around.
though if you're like, it's just a regular person. It's like in
Sure.
code names when you pick the wrong person. They're like,
Yeah.
You
So
know.
I want to see now though like a book series where just every single living person in a city has a bounty on their head.
Right.
The city
It's
is
like
that
Australia.
bad.
City of criminals.
yeah,
like and
Still
like
most
it's almost like
Yeah.
Dread. You just have to
Hive
send
of
in
scum
this
and villainy.
soldier
That's right.
to like collect. all
And then, of
these
course, the main
bounties.
character has to be the one guy who has never done a crime in his life, and he's coming in and he doesn't notice any of the stuff going on.
right, right.
It's like the oblivious paladin. You know?
It's the only way that the paladin can run with like the chaotic
That's
good
right.
and
Yeah,
chaotic
yeah.
neutral
He's
characters.
naive.
He's very naive.
Also coming out probably really close to the time that this show drops, Grand Gamers Guild's newest Kickstarter, Aldabas, The Doors of Cartagena.
I'm sure that was all correct.
That's a big mouthful.
It is a card game inspired by Colombian culture. So it looks like, I don't know.
Like a card game.
We'll look at it. Yeah.
It looked
I
like a
mean,
card game kind of
I don't
wanna-
Colombian culture.
I don't want
Cards
to
on it?
I don't want to describe it poorly.
Sure.
But I
I
did
do
like
it all the time.
I did like I did like the artwork on the cards. Grand Gamers Guild has a pretty good track record, right?
Uh-huh.
So they put out some pretty good stuff. Their Kickstarters usually go very well. I don't think this is quite as limited as the
Endangered was?
No.
Oh, the Belgian beer race.
The Belgian beer race,
Yeah.
where it was like
Oh,
only
zero.
100 and like it was for like a day,
Yeah.
and it was gone in 5 minutes.
Well, that was the secondary campaign because
Right,
there was a big one and they had like some pre-orders you could get into, but then like there was more demands. Like, all right, we'll open it up a little more. Then they were gone. Like
fast.
Yeah, I'm
really
glad
fast.
I got in on that.
So this will be back to like a more normal, I believe, Kickstarter campaign.
Excellent.
But yeah, keep your eyes open, especially if you have no idea anything about Grand Gamers Guild. Check them out.
Yeah.
They're pretty cool. They do a lot of work with independent people. They've got like a great reputation amongst the designer community.
Yeah, I like it.
So
Cool, man.
I got one. Make sure you go to GameFound and check out After the Empire. We've talked about it a lot. It's
Yep.
still on there right now. You can get a deluxe, or if you have the base version already, you just want to upgrade your bits. They have an upgrade available.
man, I love that so
We
much.
almost played it Friday night, but they wanted to play more games instead of one game. So
Oh,
we played
sure.
the 2 shorter games instead.
Idiots.
I know.
That's
I
all right.
just talked about this.
But yeah, it's a great game. Get on there. It's a worker placement, tower defense game. It's a lot of fun.
Right on.
So we didn't do a proper transition. We're in crowdfunding now.
Now we're in crowdfunding.
Yeah,
was you
Bob,
doing
that was the
Bob
transition.
slid us over.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure. I got to put a little annotation and everything.
Okay.
Okay, I am dying with excitement here, guys.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Here we go.
Unfortunately, I
just
can't
die?
read from this close. Yeah, no, I am super excited because I just saw a game is coming back to Kickstarter, the Epic Edition. Does that give it away?
Oh, no.
It's coming
Tiny
to Kickstarter.
Epic
No,
edition.
of a game that I've never played, but a game that is very similar to a game that I love that is impossible to find, Tales of the Arabian Nights.
Oh,
Agents of Smersh.
yeah.
Epic Edition
Okay.
is on
Yeah.
Kickstarter right now. 17 days left. I have
I-
not played it. Yeah, I have not played
got
it.
brought up to talk
but it
about.
is it is very similar to Tales of the Arabian Nights, which
Okay.
I love.
Just a play style, you
Um,
mean, or like thematically?
No,
And
play
Arabian
style.
Nights are
Okay.
a lot like Arabian Days, right?
They are
Hotter
yeah.
than hot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
more often than not, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of good ways.
Please don't sue us.
Yeah, so the whole thing with you're moving around the board, you're doing encounters, and then there's this giant book, and you know,
Okay.
depending on your skills, like, oh, do you have espionage? Then you have these options, and someone's reading the encounters you're doing.
Yeah.
It's like that, except Agents of Smurf is cooperative.
Okay.
And it's like spies. You're spies that are trying to take
evil
down Dr.
spies.
Evil, kind of, right? You're all working together to take down Dr. Evil. It's Dr. Lobo or something. And he has his henchmen going around the planet and causing all these things. And you're trying to gather intel via your encounters and get enough intel to find out how to stop him or whatever, right? But the whole encounter system and the map system is very similar to Tales of the Arabian Nights.
Okay.
I don't know how long it plays. I know people
Sure.
complain Tales of the Arabian Nights takes forever.
Yeah.
I just don't care.
They
I love it.
have a prison simulator in this one too.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, they lock you in the gulag or
Yeah, that's
something.
right. You're just stuck there.
But yeah, so Age of Smersh, let's see some more information on it when I get to the page. It is a 1 to 4 player co-op that's supposed to play in 90 minutes by Everything Epic. That worries me slightly only because Everything Epic has some iffy stuff in their thing. As a matter of fact, they did the we talked not too long ago. I mean, it's been a while now, I guess. But that remember that board game for the librarians or whatever?
Oh,
Wasn't there
yeah.
a whole
The
drama?
librarians.
Wasn't
Well,
there
the
a whole
only-
drama thing about that or
no, I
something? I
mean,
thought.
We
I thought there was.
We kind of had some inside information about
Okay.
some drama about that.
Okay.
Oh.
But yes,
Then never mind.
I will say
I remember hearing
X-Day on the
something.
Amadre.
I just will say that the librarians did something that I normally don't like in game design, where
Okay.
it's all just photos
It is photos, yes.
from the game, which I get. You like those characters,
It
you want to
depends on the
see
game
them
for me.
represented.
Yeah.
Blah, blah,
Like it was
blah.
fine in Dune. I mean, like they weren't pictures. They were like drawings of pictures.
Oh yeah, no, that was like
Different.
villainous kind of thing. I like the way where it's like redrawn pictures,
Yeah,
even
yeah.
though villainous is
Drawn
drawn cartoons, but still, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you choose a UN spy, you complete secret missions and the encounters, like I said, to gain intel. It's going for $100 or $160 for the Epic Edition or something Collector's Edition. Which has like a gold foiled box
Yeah, it
and
looks cool.
special artwork and stuff that I didn't exactly write down. And it's
Art
supposed
prints,
to be
gold foil box, deluxe playmat, and metal dice.
metal dice, which is so iffy for me. I don't know. I like the
$60
feeling of
bucks.
metal. Exactly. I
Yeah.
don't know.
maybe $20 more.
Yeah,
Okay,
I don't know.
foily cards.
Yeah,
metal
but you're also
dice.
paying for the game mat. That's another 20,
Exactly.
30 bucks.
Yeah,
The
see, I-
game mat's the expensive thing, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know how
I'm not,
expensive
and I'm
it
not
is to
super
do
huge on game
gold
mats,
foil.
unless it's going to fit in the box. Like there's,
really?
Yeah, the one game
Yeah.
that we
I
backed
love
that
game
comes,
mats.
the game mat comes in the box. They're nice, but then it's just something else I have to transport with the game.
I will say that
you don't
like,
have to, though.
the
If you're going
legendaries-
somewhere, you could just not bring it.
The legendaries that use the game mat where it actually rolls up.
Oh,
and they
yeah,
got that
sure. It
slide,
fits in the
yes,
box
that's
perfectly.
great.
Mhm.
Super
That
nice.
is great.
I think it's the Steam Frostpunk game. It's got a box
Oh.
coming where the mat will fit inside.
Oh, right on.
really? Maybe I should back that.
I believe everything, I believe everything Epic also did the Secrets of the Lost Tomb and
Yes,
stuff. Those games,
that is
yeah,
correct.
which are like mixed reviews, blah blah blah. I actually own Secrets of the Lost Tomb, like a $200 game that I've never played.
Wow.
Oh.
For years, I've had
We'll
this
have
game
to
just
We
get
sitting
talked
that
there.
one
about
off your
playing
shelf
that
of
one time.
shame.
Yeah, we did. It's just
mean,
I
of
don't know how to
opportunity.
play, so it's a heavy setup and learn.
I want to play their Big Trouble in Little China game.
Oh yeah,
Ooh.
okay. But yeah, so I
But
don't
like
know.
old Jack Burton.
I
says,
will just
what the hell?
say I'm super excited, and I would almost bet that I'm not backing this. I would bet that Catherine is going to back this
Oh,
because she has
nice.
been wanting Tales of the Arabian Nights for years, and it is impossible to find,
Sure.
except for that copy sitting up there that you can't see.
It's up there behind Cthulhu.
Yeah, but so
approved.
I
Can't
almost
see it.
think she's going to buy this just because it's similar enough. It's going to
Sure.
fill that
Scratch that.
that gap. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's me. Agents of Smersh looks so good. I love it, man. I love Tales of the Arabian Nights.
There you
Yeah,
go.
I just kept seeing it advertised, but I didn't like look into it. And
Yeah, it's actually a remake. It came out in 2012. I
Okay.
think, and this is the Epic edition, right?
All right. Well, I've got two.
All right.
And this is going to go off that, Dr. Evil.
Oh, sure.
This is a game by Renegade Game Studios called
Okay.
My Father's Work.
Yep.
Yes,
Those
I
were
saw
the
that.
two that I was going to talk about. So you're good.
Okay.
I don't know
Okay.
anything about this one.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
It looks cool.
if you don't back on Kickstarter, you're only going to be able to buy it off of their website.
Okay,
It's
that's
never
fine
going to be
still.
in your store. And we have till May 13th, so you got a little bit of time. The idea is, it's a 2 to 4 player, and you are going to be you're a generation, a family of mad scientists trying to get your evil plans going. And as your mad scientist ages, they have to figure out what they are passing down to their children
next
to
generation.
finish it. And you go through 3 generations only passing down certain things because that's all you can manage to do.
Sure.
I think that sounds fascinating.
Yeah, you find some of their
It's your own
destroyed
legacy.
textbooks, and you can only
Yes,
see so
exactly.
much information. Yeah.
And you're also like trying to not go insane or dodging mad mobs that are trying to hunt you down.
Right.
Yeah, I thought that looks great. Oh,
Yeah.
and they have a spiral bound village board, which is how you play.
Okay.
So you will gotta look at my notes. You have new places that are going to open up as you're playing. So you're going to flip it open. You have a whole new scenario. They
Right.
actually have several scenarios you get to play. There's at least 3, and each scenario is replayable. And the Kickstarter is opening up more and more scenarios as we go. So who knows what they'll be by the end.
Sure. And this is taken off pretty well. So there's going to be a lot of-
It's very funded right now.
Yeah, yeah. And
And
Renegade
safe.
makes some of the games that I love, like Clank and
Mhm.
Oh yeah. Well, this
Like
is
that,
also
so.
very story driven because it comes with an app, and this app tells a story, and the number of combinations of different things that can go on is basically snowflakes. You're never going to be playing the same game twice
Sure.
anywhere in the universe. So it's pretty cool,
yeah.
and it's only one price. It's $99, so
Nice.
it's not a bank breaker.
I love that name.
Yeah.
It's just a really good name.
Oh,
it's
My
a great
Father's
name.
Work.
Father's
Yeah,
Work,
it sounds
great
very
name.
like my dad. Was
And they use
Frankenstein.
game trays.
Oh,
Game
nice.
trays have all those nice little
Yep.
things.
Game trays are usually pretty solid as far as inserts go.
Yep.
Now, the one caveat, which is really not a big one considering Kickstarter, is they're not expecting to fulfill until February.
Oh, sure.
Oh, that's not. I
that's
mean,
not
that
that
bad.
bad.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not bad. at
Depends
all.
on if they make
I
it.
Considering-
know, I know.
Under a year.
It's
Yeah,
under a
under a
year.
year, that's fine.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised when
Yeah?
I saw November on that one, but I guess it's just a remake, right? So
There-
they,
Right. So the
Yeah.
most of it's
There
already
is
done.
Cthulhu
Yeah.
War stuff that I am waiting on from 2019 that probably maybe I will get this year.
that's
Maybe.
crazy.
I
Wow.
should have
I
to
didn't
look-
realize there was more
yeah.
Cthulhu stuff that you hadn't gotten yet.
I mean, it
that
does
I
kind
need
of
to
make
play
sense
with you
'cause
when you get it.
Shipping wise, 2020 doesn't exist.
No.
So-
Well, yes and no.
Yeah.
I mean, title blades and everything. But
no,
still.
I guess,
true.
yeah. It was just difficult, I guess, is what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
sure.
Yeah.
All right.
I have
And
one-
the next one, you guys are going to love me for this
Okay.
one.
Man, you could
Not
let him
dice.
talk about that then.
Actually, it's called Node Dice.
I saw this one.
You
I
saw
thought
this
it,
one.
And I thought of you.
You did. I knew you knew I had to talk about it. It's called No Dice Puzzle. Celtic Dragon Ouroboros.
So it's Celtic too.
It's Celtic dice.
Moving on to our topic.
Wait, we're not doing things we hate, Dan. Calm down.
So it's a series of dice. If you are familiar with me and Not Dice, we've done, I think, some reviews of it before, or at least talked about it before. Not Dice in expansion now has, I think, 3 different kinds of dice, maybe 4. Well, this one has 5 different kinds of dice. Ooh, they've upped it. They're wood dice. They're each 3 different colors that you can choose from. They're all different kinds of wood. So you can do yellow hornbeam, white beech, or brown oak. They're laser engraved. So in Not Dice, they had a real big problem trying to get the actual die casters that make the die to fit, because all of the dice faces roll over the edges, and they basically had to invent their own way of doing it. And there are a number of times when they came back and they're like, we're going to have to push back the date a little because we failed.
Yeah.
Well, this one isn't having that problem. They're just laser engraving it. It's not going to roll over the edges, but it's still going to go right up to the edges. It's going to look pretty good.
Right on.
And it's not just Celtic knot. There are dragon heads. So,
Do the wood dice have knots in them?
yes.
So they're
Not
not dice.
Exactly.
Not dice.
They're knotted knot dice.
There's tons of games that you can play with them, including they've got all these weird tower ones, which I've not seen before. But if you like playing with dice and you like playing with, Celtic knots, or if you just like collecting cool little wood dice.
So if you are specifically Spencer.
me. Yeah, so for $27,
We could just call the show now. We're not going to get better than that. And it's a shame that it was Dan.
It is.
So you have till June 3rd if you're interested.
Yeah, sure.
So
I'll check it out,
I'll
man.
have till June 3rd.
I don't know anything about it. I'll check it out.
They're
just
actually
told
still
you
trying to
everything
figure
about
out
I know. I want to look at pictures.
how they want to do it, because they're trying to figure out if they want to have laser engraved background or just leave it with the nuts. So it's $27 for 9 dice. It goes up 24 dice, 48 dice, it's $120. Plus they've got these really cool wooden boxes that go with it.
Oh, sure.
And they look really awesome.
Right
so
on.
check it out, especially if you like wood.
Yeah.
if you like wood.
We all like wood here.
Yeah. Now, are
So-
those dice made out of witches?
Which is
Oh, God.
Do you have another one, Ken?
ducks. They're made out of ducks.
Oh,
Ducks.
Small one.
What also floats in water?
I'll be quick. So I don't know if you might have seen it, but we did a unboxing of Venice not that long ago, which would be somewhere up there. And so that was the second game in this little trilogy that they're doing.
Uh-huh.
First, it was Ragusa. In Ragusa, you were building the city. In Venice, you're fighting to build your business up and
sure.
use your boats. And now in the new one that they've released on Kickstarter, it's called Florence. And in Florence, you get to enjoy the opulence of life among the nobility and the social pitfalls they're in. And it's like a area control type game. It's by Braincrack. There's a solo mode by David Turksey.
You can do it.
Yeah.
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 Turksey or Turksey or something like
I'm
that.
sure I'm butchering that name, but
No.
he's done a lot of good solo modes.
He's really good.
What was the
Yep.
first game called?
Ragusa.
Is that a different city then too? Are they all
I think
different
so.
cities?
Yeah,
I was just wondering.
yeah, and
'cause
they're
you said
basically
Venice and
it's a collection
Florence.
of Mediterranean Euro games, what they call them.
Okay.
And there's 3 of them, and now they're doing the final one is on Kickstarter now, and it's called Florence. But yeah, check it out because like we unboxed that Venice, and it looks
Venice
amazing.
looks really neat.
And
I
these
wanna play
components look just as cool. Like there's little carriages and stuff that you get to take
right on.
around instead of the boats, and yeah,
Nice.
so it looks really neat. So yeah, check it out. It's not super expensive. I think it was like $50 or something like that. So that's not too bad.
Sure.
But yeah.
That sounds good.
Cool, man.
Is that all for crowdfunding? You got one more?
Nope, that was it for crowdfunding.
All right, we're gonna move
Check
on.
them out, guys, and let us know which one interests you the most in the comments section below.
You know it's the dice.
Shut up.
And we're going to move
Even
on to
your
our
twin brother
Yep.
doesn't like not dice as much as you do.
We have a topic today.
topic.
A very passionate topic.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think,
Oh,
for all
huge.
of us. We've actually talked about this before, but not in like full topic form
This
like
is
this.
we
True.
are going to like specifically just dive deep in on this and dig
Yeah.
around a little bit.
We'll see. And I actually brought some examples in my very cool, not losery at all Indiana Jones satchel.
We should probably tell them what
pretty
the topic
losery.
is. at some point.
Listen,
Or
that
should we just let
holds
them guess?
Dan's
Oh,
Barbies
This one right there.
and hair that he just finds on the street. There's
random
actually
hair.
not real examples in there.
We'll need
Okay,
that later.
so one of the things we are passionate about and can make or break a game sometimes
Yes.
is rule books.
Yes.
Good rule books.
Should have brought though. I only brought good ones. I
You
should
should've
bring
brought
a
bad
really
ones.
bad one.
Oh,
I should have
man.
brought a really
That's okay,
bad one.
Oh, I
today
think-
is what
yeah.
makes a good rule book.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we don't need any bad ones.
Sure.
Sure.
That's
just
for
an
a different
example,
episode.
though. You know?
Sure.
Future episode.
But yeah, so we're going to talk about what makes good rule books. What are our favorite things to see in rule books? Yeah, what does every rule book need to have? Things that
Yes.
we've talked about a little bit before, but we're just going to go more in depth with this.
No,
More
I've-
focused.
Got one
I've
thing
actually
on my list.
Needs to
Be a normal
have
size.
words. I hate you. I hate you so much. If that's all you care about, your rule books are going to suck.
Spencer's
It's
just
not- there's,
says.
there's a secondary sheet. I just say that.
Spencer's just says explain how to play not dice.
Oh.
As long as it tells you how to play not dice.
In the back of every
Yeah.
rule book that teaches that game.
Oh,
That's right.
perfect.
Roll a
So,
die. There you
Bob
go.
has a huge one. He just joked about, but that is a huge one for Bob. Honestly,
It is.
I don't care at all, but
I
I
know.
do get it.
It's
So what would
annoying.
you call a normal size then?
8.5
by 11, right?
Like
Yeah.
a normal book
So
size.
like what's in Dan's hand?
Sure.
Exactly. Like that. It's a normal size.
Normal
piece of
size
paper.
looks like a magazine or a comic book, a little bit bigger.
So, quick example why the square ones bother me so much. I sit on that bench on my side of the table. We're playing Dune the other night, and I know most of the rules for Dune, but I have the book out just in case. I had to look something up, and I open it up, and it's so wide it won't fit on the bench. It wants to fall off either way. and it just takes up too much room.
I have
Sure.
one where you open it and you're like, and then you.
Yeah.
oh my God!
Yeah. I mean, if that's it, it should be enough rules that you can memorize, right?
Yeah.
So it's only like the 2 pages there, but yes. I
So
get what
the
you're saying.
big
It's
thing
big.
though for you though, right? One of the big reasons for you is that you like making copies
And I do enjoy making
of
copies
rule
of
books
rule
so that
books.
you can make player sheets for everyone.
Yep.
And when a book
Nice.
is an odd shape, it is very difficult unless you just know how to Google the rule book online. But if you want to take your own book at home and copy it at your work, then
Or
yes.
at home.
Then yes,
but
it would be difficult.
Yes. Exactly.
Wow.
Thank you, Dan, for
Wow.
saying that so eloquently.
Well, this rule book, without knowing anything about what's inside this rule book, this rule book
I
does
did
do
look through
something
it.
that I
Yes.
love,
Right.
Which
this
is-
is one huge
That's
positive.
what-
a
Yeah.
summary.
On the back.
If
on the
you
back.
look, we did an unboxing of this, and if you look during the video, at a certain point, I'm looking through the book. I turn it over and I go, and yes,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is.
Here's
Yeah.
the thing. This summary is amazing. This is definitely
Couple
one of the
reasons.
things that are yes, showing the iconography, showing all the symbols. That is nice. Showing the phases here. That's very nice. We talk about that a lot. This though goes one step
Yes.
further and
That
does
is one
something
of the things on my list,
exactly.
too.
Showing next to here it says player turn and it goes through the player turn and next to each step it says which page it goes more in depth on.
Huge.
That
that's
telling
so
you the page
good.
number is
I
gigantic.
feel like they learned from Mezzo. Now, don't get me wrong. I really like Mezzo, but that rule book makes me want to drive into traffic.
Yes, I'm glad we had
I
someone to help
hate,
teach us. but
I
yes.
hate that rule book with a passion. But it does not have clear like breakdowns. It's like you're looking at this over here, and then sometimes you're going over here.
Yep.
Another game that I love, but I've had a few problems with the rule book, was that Court of the Undead.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Okay.
only because there was like a few things where it wasn't exactly because you've got the 2 tracks on either side.
Sure.
And I felt like they should explain those in the same section.
Oh yeah, because they're 2 different phases technically, so they explain them separately.
right.
in their
right. But we had
phases.
some questions, and then you instinctively you think, oh, these things kind of work similarly.
Right.
But because they are executed in different phases of the cleanup phase or whatever,
Right.
they I understand
And
why.
and a lot of cards impact both at the same time, so it'll be like raise one, lower the other.
right.
And you know what exactly am I doing by
Right.
doing that?
But
and it talks
since-
about it in 2 different sections.
And since it's in 2 different sections, it's
Yep.
kind of tough
Yeah.
because you're
Yep.
flipping from here. Now, it wasn't hard to find. It is very clearly explained and everything when you find the sections.
right.
But it would have been really handy if they were right there together. But
Or a page number next to it to say also see.
yeah, I've
Yeah.
never seen the page
Yeah,
numbers,
I've seen that a
That's
couple of times.
fantastic.
on
I've
rule
seen
books.
it a couple
I
times.
really like that.
It's,
and that's
yeah.
pretty good.
Yep.
That's
incredible.
neat.
Yep. I like it when like you're going. Here's the setup, and then there's a turn summary right there, and then in the turn summary you've got that. You say
Yeah.
here's the whole turn summary. Go to this page, this page, this page. Like I don't like it when you're turning a book, you're turning the page in the book, and it's listing the whole turn out, and there's no actual concise
Sure.
turn flow.
Yeah.
All right, what do you got, Dan?
I was just wondering if you recognized it just by me doing
It
this.
does look very familiar.
Yeah. turn
So
flow thing. Go ahead.
this is also speaking on what you're talking about, though. But
Yes.
I brought
I
another
recognize it.
example, and this is of a lighter game.
Yep.
But San Juan here has a fantastic
It does.
rule
It's a
book
good one.
Okay.
because Now, not very many pictures here, but what San Juan does is it explains everything here on the left for your first time playing. It goes through everything, and then on the right side it says just read these sentences, and this will remind you everything that the left paragraphs say.
And
right?
the left just gives you the details.
Exactly. All this does, once you understand how to play, if you're the teacher of the game, I know this is very difficult for you to see, but you can Google pictures of the San Juan rulebook if you really need to. But all the rules are listed here in depth, huge sentences, and they're all very well explained. But then it literally, so it'll say like, deal each player 7 cards. Make these cards, blah, blah, blah. Each card, and then on the left side, it just shows a picture and shows, 7 cards each player. And you're just like, okay, I don't need to read any of this anymore because I've played the game before. I know what I'm doing. I just need to know which steps I'm doing it in. And you're just going through here, and it shows you everything. Just sum it up. No, I sum up. Right, that kind of thing. And I know that Aaliyah rulebooks, just in general, are very good at this. I know Puerto Rico has a similar type of thing. So this is a smaller game that I brought in, but yes, this whole sum up things while also explaining
things. You brought that
things.
whole satchel just for that little rulebook?
No, there's more. But you were talking about that kind of organization and references, and this is incredible.
So,
this is also a good example of how a rulebook should be laid out, because a rulebook should start not with what you're doing, but what is the actual story of the game?
Yeah, sure.
Are you a prospector or trader, builder or producer? It tells you what the theme is, the story. Then it starts off with, what are you trying to do?
Right. How do you win?
And then
how do you win?
Setup. And it should always go. You want the game contents, because then you can double check, make sure you've got everything.
Yeah.
But then you should go into setup, and then immediately you should go into the turns and just explain each turn.
Now,
and then at the end you have
it has
you have to have an end cap, and the end cap always has several things in it, including the credits right down here. This one doesn't have it, but in some they have alternate ways you can play, variations.
Sure.
Right, this game doesn't have it, but this one does. All these buildings here are basically what you're saying, though. This goes over at the end, all the different expansion
and
buildings
that
and
one,
how they play.
And this one, the guide or glossary guide.
Yeah,
Right.
Glossary's
Wonderful.
one of my big ones. I like it when they use bold keywords, right? Where you're saying you're going to flip, and the flip is bold. And when you look at flip, there's a glossary that says flipping means you need to be doing this.
Exactly.
And it usually will also tell you what pages you can find it discussed.
Right, which went into the first one. Yes.
Right.
Anytime you can reference the pages in the rulebook is huge,
super
because
handy.
we don't. Especially this one does it, and it's only a 22-page rulebook. There are rulebooks way bigger than this that don't tell you where anything is.
And now 22 sounds like a lot, but I mean this is
a lot
like
of pictures, a lot of visuals.
that is a whole page.
Right, they can't see any of
basically.
that.
Just
That camera's not on.
Oh yeah, hi. Now I won't be able to find it again. But I mean, this is like a whole page is showing you the map, which is fine because it gives you examples of stuff. One thing that I like in rulebooks, and I don't know if this one does it, but okay, so you've got this this has a picture of how you set up, and on the side it's got it numbered and it's diagrammed out, right?
Sure.
It's great for setup. It's also great for when you're punching out stuff and you're trying to figure out what components are what.
Yeah.
So I think that I like having a
visual reference of
of the components.
Iconography.
So when you're sorting, actual visual
actual components.
Yeah,
yes.
so I know that this token is a stun token,
and
or I know
especially when
that
the
these
two of them are
cards
close.
are event cards.
Yeah.
By the deck back. So
And then when two of the components are really close looking, they look similar, and they'll put them next to each other and show, and so you can compare and
See
be
the
like,
difference.
oh, that's the difference. This
sure,
is this.
Sure. So what I like, and I don't know if this rulebook does it or not, but I like it when they've got after setup, it just gives you like a turn breakdown first.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah.
And then
It goes into
It
what
goes
those
into
turn
detail
breakers
for-
are.
for
It breaks
each-
down each part of the turn.
Sure,
for
Dune
each-
Imperium does that.
Yeah,
for
you
each
need
part
to
of
have
the
a
turn.
game summary in a nice, concise
Because then you can
spot.
kind of sometimes questions are, well, when does this happen?
Yeah.
What phase am I supposed to worry about this, or maybe what phase you play cards? And more now than there used to be, they've been really good about putting it on the cards, right? Like
Yeah.
play this during activation phase.
Oh, yeah,
play
card
this
itself,
play
yeah.
this during another player's turn.
Sure.
Right? But in the rule book, like having good stuff like that in the rule book and FAQ, like a FAQ, an FAQ at the back is really huge.
Yep,
Oh,
I
yeah.
like those too.
But
Or like commonly forgotten rules, like
Uh-huh.
things
Yeah.
like that are
They've been
handy
doing that
because-
more and more lately.
Yeah, which is good because
Uh-huh.
there's just a lot of rules that get thrown
Sure.
at you, and you're like, oh yeah, I
Games
forgot.
are getting more
Actually,
complicated.
in reference to that, a good rule book will give you an example when it has something that's difficult to understand or very important to understand. It'll give you a turn example trying to explain what happens when this person attacks this person. So sometimes that's what makes or breaks that rule. You're like, oh, we've been doing that wrong.
Sure.
But as a caveat, do not make your example 3 pages long.
Yeah.
For sure.
It sucks when it's like that.
Yeah.
You can make a short example that only explains the one concept.
It just needs to be concise.
Yeah.
Because if it's, like you said, if it's too long, you get lost in it.
Exactly.
It's really hard. It really stinks if you've got to like stop the game to look up this rule, and it takes a long time because you're reading all this flavor
right,
text,
looking for the one sentence you need. Yeah.
and you're really just looking for a few keywords, right?
Yep.
And so if you're trying to scan it, and I'm just trying to read through this real quick because I'm holding up the whole game. Okay,
Which
The
is where
best
the bold
ones-
words.
Yeah, the
Correct.
best ones
Yeah.
seem to separate the examples out from the main text
Sure.
by either putting them in a box or making them italicized.
right.
And,
And
that's
there's some
good.
rule books where it's like combat is explained further in this section, and then
Yeah.
you
Oh,
can
sure.
go to that section
Yeah.
and get all the nitty gritty details.
So, but that example thing touches on my last thing that I have on here. Examples are fine and good, but there shouldn't be any new information in the example.
Oh my
Totally.
gosh!
That was a
yes.
huge thing because sometimes like
I
you're just reading
forget
the
what
rules.
game that was. That might have
Yes.
even been Mezzo, where it's like some of the rules
Actual
are actually
rules
explained.
in
right.
the
It's
example.
the example is explaining how to do Rule A, but it has a feature from Rule C that has not taught yet in the example.
Or
Yeah,
worse.
you
or-
don't
yeah, or
understand
it's not
the
even
Worse is a
anywhere
feature
else
that's not
in
a
the
Anywhere
rule.
else
Yeah.
except in the
Oh,
example.
that's
There was
what
a,
I
I,
mean.
I, I don't
That's
remember what
even
example
worse.
what game it was. We were playing.
We
Like,
had a
where is it?
game.
Where is it? And finally, we read the example, and we're like, oh, it's right there in the example. Like, why
Yeah.
isn't that rule listed somewhere else in the rules and not just in
It
the
might have been a
example?
Blade
Or
Runner
maybe it was
game.
No,
Blade
it wasn't the
Runner.
one that I played recently. It wasn't Blade Runner, but they had the exact same problem where
Yeah.
I read the expansion and I was like, but that's nowhere that what?
I've had
Yeah,
that
you mean-
problem a couple times, and you and I both have been like, "This is horse crap."
Yeah, it's like, okay, yeah, if you're not going to have a bold word, at least in the example that I can easily find and identify, a lot of times I'm going to
Yeah.
skip over the example because I don't need the example because it's not a problem right now.
Because I
There
understand-
shouldn't be
I
any
think I
new
understand the rule.
information
Yeah.
in the example.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a really good way of saying it too. Right.
Yeah.
New information in the example
Yeah.
is horrible.
Those are my bitches.
Because I don't
Complaints.
always go through and read all the examples because it's like I, for the most part, know how line of sight works.
Right, yeah.
Or
You would
something like
think,
that.
Or it should work.
Right. I mean, we've played enough games where you scaffold off a knowledge you already have
Yeah,
from the games.
Right,
you have
and if it's
experience
not,
with.
the first sentence of that should be, our line of sight works slightly differently than the other game. So then you're like, oh, I have to read this. So you at least know, right?
Right.
I
right.
also want to mention a couple of more things. Rule books should be read written in a speaking voice, not in a technical writing voice.
Oh.
There are so many times where I have run into a rule book where I'm like,
It's like reading
that's a
tech
technical
manual.
writer. Yeah. And other times where I've read a rule book and I'm like, that person needs a grammar lesson.
Sure.
You
Well, that
want
was
to
their
have
speaking voice for
that was a little too much their speaking voice.
Yeah.
It
I'm
needs
not
to,
your best friend.
you need to be able to read it out loud.
Yeah.
And that's the key. When you're writing it, read it out loud and have other people read it out loud. People you don't even know.
People
Go
that
to
don't
your
like
game
you,
group,
so they'll be mean to
Be
you.
like, here, play that game.
Yep.
And then you leave. And you come back afterwards and
Yeah.
ask what problems they had.
Right.
And you have to do this a lot to make it right.
We've had that experience with some prototypes before, where it's like, I'm gonna just see if you can figure out how to play this game.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I
Which is
appreciate
good.
that.
Yeah, I
because-
don't mind it. Yeah, especially if you have them like available, we can talk to to ask questions, and then maybe put some
Right.
notations in the rules they give you, so they can try to work that
Absolutely.
in.
Right.
Yeah, that's definitely the technical writing thing. I don't know if I mean it the same way as you, but yeah, this is something I complain just in life about all the time when someone's talking and they feel like they have to, like, if you're reading a rule book and it says, whereas the concording example, and you're like, please just say,
Yeah.
hey, pick up the card.
Yeah,
Like,
like put
why-
the square cube there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You're making it so much harder to teach by having me have to explain these giant words to all
Right.
these people that I'm talking to, It's just unnecessary. So I don't have a special thing in this rule book that I love, but I
Yeah.
recently taught this game again. More like relearned it for someone.
Sure.
Right? And I literally said out loud while teaching this game, man, this is a great rule book. And I think, Tim, that you'll be very happy to know that I was teaching Lords of Waterdeep.
Yeah, boy.
I was teaching Lords of Waterdeep to someone, and no, seriously, I
love this
had
game.
this game, and this, honestly, a big thing is the images in this, right? I'm always a
can't see
fan.
Good images.
Good point. Thanks, Tim.
I've been avenged.
The big thing is the images in this. They do a great. Listen, we should have had that darn camera on if we were going to talk about rulebooks. Except that you didn't know I brought examples. But
it's great.
So a big thing are the pictures in this. But I literally was teaching this game, and as I was going through this, man, and this part in the end that picks every single worker placement spot and
That's a
tells you exactly
thing
how
to
it
have,
works
too.
and
Yep.
what you're doing
Gosh,
and
I
how
really
they
love
affect
that.
each other and every
just makes me wanna
building
play
and
it so
how
much
they
more.
work and how they affect each other. I literally was teaching this game to someone, and I said out loud, I was like, man, this is a great rule
And then
book.
look at the back.
Oh yeah, and then the breakdown for everything, the breakdown for setup, the breakdown for the actions in the turn, the breakdown for final scoring.
Yeah.
Everything there on the back of
You know
this
what you can do is you
rulebook.
can take this
And
put
photocopy
and photocopy it. And you just hand them out to everybody. Everybody knows what's going on.
Yeah, it's true. And also just go to Google and type in Lords of
That's a
Waterdeep
lot of
rulebook,
work. What if
and
you
then
don't have
hit
internet
print.
access?
Well, get it. You have a photocopier, but you don't have internet.
Yes. What is if only I had internet.
I am loving life right now so much.
No, but
No, it's a great rulebook.
Nothing
It's-
specific from this one. It's just so well done.
It's really well
Everything
laid
in this
out,
game is
for
designed
sure.
to make it easy to teach,
Yes.
and that is the main thing with this
Yeah,
one.
you
Yes.
you remind me of something that I like. I
Well.
love the.
I remind him
Might
of
not get
something.
carried away.
Oh. Anyway, I really like Race for the Galaxy, and it has all of these cards that do all of these things with all these little symbols. I like being able to say, here's the back of the book. Oh, you have a symbol you don't understand? There you go.
That's
Yeah.
the middle of the book, though.
Yeah.
You
Well,
did open it to the middle and then said back.
Yeah, I like it too. I'm like,
But usually,
The person's like,
near
I
the
can't
back,
find it.
but near the back of the book, that's where they'll have all
typically,
the
yeah.
stuff.
Or like
Right.
or like a separate, like the Star
Yeah.
Wars Rebellion, I think does it, where they have like a separate book
And
Yes.
so
for the.
they can figure out
technical
what their
things.
cards do, and it doesn't ruin the game for me because I don't have to figure out what cards they
Yeah.
have.
Like,
Right.
oh, I don't want to tell you what card I have. Here, look it up.
Oh,
Well,
is it?
So I really actively dislike this game, but they do a good job with this. Is it's like villainous, don't they? Each okay.
So villainous.
Hold that thought.
Any game that has an asymmetric ability should have these kind of things in it. This is
Ooh.
incredible. Now I know this isn't technically part of the rule book, but it is
Nah,
it is
I
a
feel
branch.
like
Count.
I feel like
It's
that this
player
is
aid.
this
Right.
is
This is more
integral
player
to
aid, but yes.
teaching.
Player aids should be included in this.
Merchant's Cove. We just unboxed.
I was-
Exactly.
I was-
Merchant's Cove.
I was
same
going
thing.
to use that as the example, but
I will.
but knowing the villainous rulebook is actually really good
Yes.
and
so
benefits
at the
immensely
so
from
you
that.
teach everyone the basis of the game, and any game, Root, Merchant's Cove, Vast, and Villainous. Any game that is very asymmetric has these little books. This for the Captain Hook character here. This tells him not only what his goal is, but how to do it.
Yep.
This just tells you, oh, this is how you win. You just have to try to complete your goal before this person completes their goal. And every single player has this little sheet that tells them everything they need to know about their specific
Yes.
Very nice.
player power and win victory.
I
which is the
feel
most
like
important part.
they are more than player aids. They're almost individual rule books.
Right.
And I
Each player
feel
gets a little rule book.
and I feel like
Right.
for a game that purports to be light, like Villainous, is actually kind of complex
Right.
because all the different characters
Are
now
slightly different, yeah.
Right.
If these weren't in the game, these simple little things, Villainous would be, I would say, at least twice as hard to teach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But being able to hand people these and be like, just go over that and ask me any questions you specifically have about your character. You don't need to know what Ursula's doing. You
Right.
you just simply don't need to know.
All you
I'll
need to
tell
know is
you,
if she's close to winning.
Exactly. And I'll tell you as the teacher, I'll
So
be like,
then
hey
you-
guys, Ursula's getting really close.
So you can
I'll
drag the
just
game
tell
out
you
for
guys
another
that.
45 minutes
Right.
while everybody
Right. But yes, so those kind of books,
Yeah.
it's
See,
hilarious
hey,
you
I
brought that
throw
up.
compliments at games even if I hate them.
Give
Right.
the devil his due.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they do. I was really impressed with that. I thought
Mm-hmm.
that was really well done and appreciated that part
This
of
is
it.
actually my favorite version of this too. Does it work as well? Maybe not, but like Vast has an entire front and back page that you give each player, and Merchant's Cove has a pretty big page. It looks like you give every player. More complex games, of
Right,
course. But
right.
I'm just saying how small and simple they were able to pull it off in Villainous.
Yeah, and
It
again,
is
I
a
count
huge
that as
boon.
rulebook because I
Right.
I feel like that everybody. It's like you said. Here are the basic rules. Now here's everybody's individual
Yeah,
rules.
I'm just gonna sit back, read over them, and ask me questions.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
That
No,
kind of thing.
I think that's great. It's a
Yeah.
really good way to do it. And again, the rules were never my problem with Villainous.
Oh,
Like,
sure.
understanding how to play and
Yeah.
the mechanics of it
Right.
all makes sense. It's
Sure.
very accessible.
Sure. The biggest issue is it overstays its welcome.
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
that's a different.
That's a different show,
yeah,
right?
different conversation.
But yeah, no, they do a great job. They do a great job. And there are games, man. Look, here's part of speaking of which, a bad rule book can kill a game or really sour somebody on a
Easily.
game.
Yeah.
Champions of Midgard. The first edition,
Yep.
caveat, first edition rule book of that game is awful.
Yeah.
is awful. That game is not that hard to learn, but we had a hell of a time trying to figure that game out the first time.
Yeah.
But again, it had just come out. We bought it at a convention, right? You or Pete bought it, and maybe both of you.
I think I got it.
But I mean, we were fighting through that rule
Yeah,
book.
you know how much I love Nemesis. It was my number
Rulebook
one.
sucks.
It's not a
Yes,
great
the
rulebook.
rulebook of Nemesis sucks.
I actually don't think it sucks.
The one sheet
not
they have
great.
with all the room breakdowns on it, that's fine. That's
Yep.
great.
Oh,
but
that's
the
great.
actual rule book,
Yeah.
Nemesis is the iconic rulebook where we literally had a problem while trying to teach that game where we were trying to look up how to do something and we found a section talking about it and it said for more information go to page 5 or whatever, and we turned to page 5 and it said like the exact same information, then said for more information go to page 12 and it was just an infinite loop of the two things giving
Yeah.
you no
That took
additional
forever to
information.
get out
And if you go back to that show, which was like what, our second episode or something ridiculous, I gave it a 9.5. I would have given it a 10 if it had not been for the rule book.
Yeah. Yeah.
Luckily, I haven't had to fully teach the game from beginning to end yet.
I have done it way too many times.
I will say that Awakened Realms has gotten better with their rule books because I feel like while
I think that's
Tainted
true.
Grail is really crunchy, the rule book's pretty clear. I find that the Lords of Hellas rule book is really easy.
I like
feel
that
like
one a lot.
I feel like that is a very easy game to teach.
I would almost say that is as good as Lords of Waterdeep, as in it doesn't do like anything amazingly mind-blowing, but it is very good at teaching the game,
Yes.
which is all I care
yeah,
about.
setup is solid, right?
Yeah.
And everything. I think I think right out of the gate,
Yeah, I've taught Lords of Hellas quite a few times in the last like 6 months, and every
right.
time it definitely gets better each time because I know where things are more,
Sure.
but that's
Yeah.
just my memory, right?
No.
It's a very good rule book.
rule book's laid out very well. So they have improved. And I think that's also maybe them as a company, right? Just getting better at
Yeah.
making their games.
I'm a little concerned when I have all of the Tainted Grail stuff currently sitting at home.
That's a big
I'm
boy.
ready to open it, but it's got all the expansions, and I'm a little concerned that I'm not going to know how to incorporate all the expansions
Sure,
at
sure,
once,
sure.
because that's not one rulebook I'm
No,
looking
you
at.
don't incorporate. You decide which
one to
campaign
play
you're going to
with.
play.
So each one, so
It's a separate campaign.
So the Red Death you play, I think you can move over
I don't
characters.
think all of them are separate campaigns.
Sure.
I'll look it up.
Well, and I think there's one of them that's you play after. So it's almost like Forgotten Circles, right?
Sure,
for
it's
Gloomhaven.
an epilogue.
So
Yeah.
what I would like, if you have an expansion like that, it should say up front, page 1, right there. You play this after you've done this.
Sure.
And that's actually what happens during the Nemesis Aftermath, which I didn't have a problem with that rule book.
Yeah.
And it said, you will play this game after you played a normal game of Nemesis.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Yes,
so,
I will.
I mean, a couple of honorable mentions. I think Smartphone has a good rule book. I think Quacks has a good rule book. Taverns is like 3 pages, right? And that's with all the modules.
Yeah.
You know,
Taverns gets into fuzzy territory with the module. It does it
Yes.
well, but it's just hard to do. You know.
Yeah, the tricky
Yeah.
thing about Taverns is I wish it had a concise spot where everything was already added in. You know
Oh,
what I mean?
right,
So,
yeah.
because
Yes.
when you're trying to add everything in separately, you're like, okay, let me go through this part. Okay, let me go to the next part. And it's kind of a lot to kind of shuffle
Yeah,
through.
I actually
Yeah.
played
Should
a
be
game
like
recently which
a-
links to the idea of taverns, which is why I hadn't brought it up. But where what it does is it has a bunch of modules, and whenever you're going over the module, it has a page reference to where in the normal rulebook this module fits.
sure be.
You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
Well, this module affects this, which is being talked about on page 7.
Sure.
So read this, and then this links to page 7, and
Sure.
that's,
And that's
very
fine,
useful.
but then in the main rule book, they should have a notation too where it says if you want to do this module, this is where you do it here.
Right.
So that way you're not like going through and you're like, oh wait, this module, that was supposed to be back on this one. It should be
Right.
stuck in there
Yes,
somewhere.
that gets
so you
very
know-
complicated.
So,
Yeah.
so we'll see how it translates, but I've read the Black Rose Wars rulebook now a few times,
Okay.
and they do something that I also like, where you've got the rule book. Here's all the rules. And then there's a secondary book, which gives you the lore of each character, but it also has all of the spells from each of the schools, all laid out so you can see every card.
sure,
and
that's
reference-
It's a little grimoire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you don't need to be burdened with that in the regular rule book. Like, you're not fighting
Yeah.
through
Well, it's like the Star
that-
Wars one again.
No,
that
like that.
information
Yeah.
to get to the
Well,
good
it's
stuff.
got, like, some of the
Descent or
technical
Imperial
information.
Assault does that.
The frickin' island game that we
Yes, that one.
Rails of Lance and Air?
Reef Edge.
Title Blade?
Title
Title
Blades.
Blades.
Reef
Title
Edge,
Blades
Reef
does the
Edge.
same thing where it has that giant.
thing.
It has a giant secondary book that
Yes.
just goes over every
All the
single
stuff.
card and
Yeah,
everything.
Right.
And yes, that's nice.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't need it all the time, but but
Well,
it's nice
there.
to not fight through
Yeah.
that information to get to the core
Right.
rules.
I mean, if your
bog
game
the main
is-
rules
Yes.
down with all of that
Exactly. If your
stuff.
game is so complicated that you really need that, then sure, absolutely.
And again, Fantasy Flight does it well with Imperial Assault and Descent, where you've got the how to play,
Yeah.
and then you've got the advanced rules.
The biggest complaint I have about that, because I did make a small note about that, is that in the how to play, it's the like tutorial version, and then when you want to do the normal setup, you have to keep referencing the back.
Oh, sure.
I think the main thing should be the normal, and then it says for tutorial, like maybe
Oh,
in
right,
the
right,
back,
right.
so
I
you're not having to
agree.
keep going back because you're only having tutorial maybe
Yeah.
what 2 or 3 times.
I
And
agree.
okay,
The tutorial shouldn't start the rule book.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes.
I agree. I agree with that. I will say I didn't love the Tapestry rule book. The first, it's very concise, but there's
a
some,
reason I didn't talk about
some
it because
gray areas.
yeah,
in there
it's
that-
weird because I don't have any issues with it, but like I don't know, I definitely don't think it's a great rule book. I don't.
It's
know.
kinda
great.
like-
it was fine, but not
Yeah,
great.
it was
It's kind of
totally
like War
serviceable.
for Chicken Island, right? Again,
Oh.
had some holes in the
Sure.
rules clarifications where it's like, well, we knew how to play the game, but it didn't. I mean, we had a lot of questions that weren't answered. It's just like refining some
Right, and
things.
it's unfair for me with Tapestry too because while I had no problems teaching the game with the rule book, I had already been taught the game.
Yeah.
So a lot of it was just my memory and being like, oh, this works like
What's
this.
amazing is I might have been the one to teach you that
You
game,
were, you
and
definitely were.
somehow you still had a good experience.
I literally to this
I must have remembered all the rules.
I will say when I learned it at home, I was playing with Catherine and Zach, I think, and I did keep saying out loud, "Oh, that's funny. Tim taught us that wrong."
Sure did.
There should be on every rulebook. There should be a Tim error
Listen.
place.
Listen,
Hey, it was still a great experience.
It was.
That's all that matters.
It was.
I mean, it's in my top 5 favorite games because you taught it to me. You
Did
know.
you,
So.
did you win?
The
I think
first
I won
time
the first time I
Oh
played.
no, the first time I played, definitely not. Yeah, I got trounced.
but Tapestry is one of those games where unless everyone is it's their first time, usually, the person who has played before is
Sure, there's definitely some insider knowledge there.
well, just
of
because
how
you have a
things
better
work,
idea of
What's
how.
coming.
what tracks work really well
Yeah.
together
Right,
and stuff
right,
like
right,
that.
right,
yeah.
right.
Timing.
There's some things you can learn, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just even by one play of that, and that might be a game where you benefit from playing like a dummy round or two, just to get an idea. Okay, let's reset and like let's play for real.
You could.
So you
Depends
had
how I do.
mentioned like the introduction example, and that reminds me. I had mentioned how you do not want to have a giant example, but you don't want to have the giant example in the middle explaining a concept. Some games are complicated enough that you should put a giant example at the end,
Oh sure.
not in the middle. That's where you have the problem.
You don't
At
like
the
it
end
in
of
the
like
middle.
each phase, you're
no,
saying?
no. At the end of the book, you can be like,
Here's an
"All
example
right,
of combat.
here is an
Here's
example
example
of
of-
a game."
Sure.
And you're like, "Oh yeah, these 2 pages."
Well, again,
Sure.
it's
Imperial
fighting.
Assault. Imperial Assault. The entire back couple pages is just examples of line of sight, movement,
Right.
Yeah.
stuff like that.
And having it like that means I'm not getting bogged down
That's
by
it.
in the middle
That
of
is
the
it.
book.
It's
Yes.
streamlining the experience
Yeah.
so that way you can get the core rules of the game down,
Right.
and then that way you're not bogged down by
Yeah.
constantly having to stop and reference the rule book. It's fine every once in a while,
Yeah,
and it's
short
fine,
ones in there, are
and
good,
it's fine
but-
if you can find them quickly.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
the page numbers. on.
right, or just an index in the back,
And
you
that
know, which could
that
give you
works
something.
not just with board games, but all sorts of games.
Sure.
Desktop role-playing games, or tabletop role-playing games, or
Yep.
even computer games if they
just
put
wanna
the
play
example at the
Waterdeep.
end.
So
Yeah.
anyway,
I love that. So, rule books for us, results may vary, but rule books for us can really make or break a game sometimes. They can really color your experience.
really, it leave a bad taste in your mouth.
Sure. But yeah, I mean, Dan was cool enough to bring a bunch of examples of ones he likes. I mean, he makes really good points with all of them. I don't think we actually disagree too much on anything,
Yeah,
right?
no.
Like
No.
the only
Pretty-
thing,
pretty much
the
the
only
same
thing I
page.
don't care so much about, and I think Bob's the only one that really gets hung up on is
size.
is the
No,
size
I
and
don't
shape.
care.
You know?
I've seen one rule book that's like round, and yeah, that was pretty bad. But other than that,
So
So-
crazy that
okay.
So is
good examples are basically the same.
So is
That's
is that too big or is that okay? Because there's a little bit of overlap.
well,
there,
it
you
is
know.
Lords of Waterdeep, so that's probably why it's not good.
Wow.
oh, you also need to follow the basic rules of design. Like, please don't use yellow text on white paper.
Oh,
Oh, sure. That's just though. Come on.
But-
Burn your eyeballs.
But
That's
trust
correct.
me, there
Okay.
are rule books out there to do that.
Sure.
Okay, so graphic design is an important
Basic
thing, right?
understanding of design. Yeah.
Sure.
You know what I'm in love with now? I type in it all the time. make your
Comic
paper
Sans?
black and write in
Yes.
white ink.
It's
Oh, I
really-
read that
it
way
is
on my
good the
so
eye.
Yeah, I
much
put night
easier.
mode
I
on my
read that
phone.
way on
yeah,
my Kindle.
that is how I type everything now.
Yep.
Like in Google Drive and everything. Whenever I'm making something, I make the sheet black. Why don't we do that? I guess because it's such a waste of ink because we don't have, like, you have to color the
True.
paper black.
We're gonna color
Yeah,
paper
yeah.
It's not
and
just
then
black
and then
paper,
make white ink.
You know? Yeah. But like, it's so much easier.
No, you
to
don't have to
read.
make white ink. You just
Just
reverse
scratching
print.
off.
You just print everywhere except where the text is.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, it's like when you spray paint over a thing. Yeah.
Anyway,
fun.
what have we forgotten, and what is
Yeah.
most important to you? It's probably not.
And
size
why
and
does
shape of
Villainous
the
suck?
rule.
Oh wait, man, Waterdeep is great. Why
Yeah.
does Villainous suck? And why
Oh.
is Lords of Waterdeep great? And you said yeah, too late, no takebacks. Cut his mic. Cut his mic. He can't talk anymore. But yeah, guys, as always, thank you for watching. Be sure to check out our good buddy CJ over at the Miniatures Rundown. He is having a giveaway still going on, I believe. I say that because I haven't won yet, so I assume
Yeah,
that's
so I
still
assume
happening.
I haven't been contacted. So
Yeah,
it must
I've
still
not
be
been told
going.
that I won something, so it must still be happening. I don't think I actually qualify, but I try to enter anyways because they're giving away some cool stuff. So check it out. Also, our friends at the Board Game Mechanics do a pretty okay podcast and a
check them
whole
out.
bunch of YouTube videos all the time. Jason and Katie, pretty okay people. We have a lot of fun with them. We got some collab stuff.
Oh, yeah, in the works?
In the works.
Nice.
In the works. So stay tuned. Be sure to also share that 500 sub giveaway video to friends and family and even people you don't like in case you hate us, right? And then just push us onto your worst enemies.
Yeah.
And we will annoy
We'll
them.
We'll take it.
We will take it.
All the exposure is good, except for indecent
Well,
exposure.
yeah. Oh,
Wow.
Leave it to Spencer to make it weird.
Yeah.
So for the board game rundown, I've been Tim.
I've been Bob.
I've been Dan.
And I'm exposed Spencer.
He's got that mask off.
I'm in my face.
Cover his face back up.
Yeah. Somebody, please.
Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time. Cover his face back up.
Yeah.
Ask and you shall receive.
Thanks for checking out the Board Game Rundown. If you like what you saw, like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Share our videos on social media and spread the word. We publish new content weekly, including reviews, unboxing, and Let's Plays. And as always, thanks for watching.